Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Feel it, boys? Can you feel that energy, that excitement?
More every day.
Weather's getting colder. Kids are back in school. Football is in full swing. We got prospect tournaments going on all over North America. We got training camp starting Wednesday. Thursday, we got on-ice conditioning, scrimmages Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a week from Monday. First preseason game of the year. Some split squad action, right? Montreal, Philadelphia. Awesome. And before we get rolling, I just seriously want to say to all of our listeners that stuck with us during the summer, we appreciate the hell out of you guys more than you could ever know. And this summer, we know it seemed like it lasted forever, but we are getting very close to the start of the season, and we are going to be on top of this entire season. This will be the place to come to for the best New Jersey Devil conversation around. And with that, I will introduce the band of misfits. We got Tony, Dan, Bobby. I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. What is up, you beautiful fuckers, on this wonderful Saturday night? How is everybody?
Well, excited as hell now after that.
Fast. Yeah, definitely.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up for some hockey, man. I cannot wait to see this team on the ice this year. I'm stoked for preseason. I'm stoked for regular season. I'm stoked for playoffs. I'm stoked for the Stanley Cup celebration. I can't wait. This is going to be
busy time of the year now. Finally, it's everything's moving along. It's been a long summer.
Mm-hmm. It has. It's been long, hot, and shitty.
It's getting cold here already. Actually, the last 2 mornings, the whole house is cold already. I'm like, here we go. It's almost hockey season. It's almost frozen season.
Nighttime is getting that chill now. I mean, I went outside the other night, I think Thursday night. I went outside after the game. I had to calm down and after the Viking game. And I was freezing, man. I was in shorts and a T-shirt. I was like, holy shit, man.
Dog wakes me up at 6. You know, you go out to walk it. You put on your T-shirt and your flip-flops like you've been doing for the last 4 months. It's 55 degrees outside. You're like, well, this kind of sucks.
I can't remember the last time I walked my dogs.
Oh, lucky you.
I think the Friday morning was the first morning I went out. I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just be in a T-shirt right now. It was actually, you felt a little cool first time.
It does. It does feel like hockey when that happens. That's what I think of. I don't think of like anything else about the fall, other than the fact I get to wear hoodies because I do like hoodies. But I don't think about Halloween. I don't think about anything like that. I think about hockey right away.
Do you think about pumpkin spice though?
I don't. I'm not a pumpkin spice guy.
He thinks
I'll eat a pumpkin pie.
I can't help it because that's what came into the house today.
Spice.
Lots of pumpkin, tons of pumpkin
Scary
spice.
Yeah, I'm more into scary spice.
Pumpkin spice is out in stores, guys.
Scary spice.
See, I dread this time of the year because I know, this time of the year is nice this next month.
Because Putin's going to turn your electric off.
He's got 24 hours a day of darkness.
Chris, I think you're his biggest supporter of anybody because that guy's shit. He got nothing going on. But no, man, it gets in about a month. It gets, we take the kids to school. You got to like dress up like Eskimos. I mean, it gets really insane here. I mean, even driving, I tell you, I've actually decided this year that last year it would rain and it was so cold that I would still take the kids to school. We live up in a lot of mountain area. It's like a lot of hills and those, the roads that like cut off completely and drop down. And we were sliding last year a few times in the car, and I was like, you know what? I mean, I don't miss that because remember I was in Florida for so long that I forgot how that is.
Yeah, you went from one extreme to the next.
That's like the total opposite. Everything's flat in Florida, and it's warm.
Yeah, in Jersey,
I
was used to ice.
You don't know.
Typically not frozen.
Yeah, Florida, we don't get ice, so it's like unless you buy it in a bag, that's about it. But it's
unless you go to a Lightning game.
Yeah,
that's it.
Very true.
Yeah, not too big on the cold down there. I like the seasons. I don't like extremes of either. I don't like, February and it being, 5 degrees. I don't like that. And I don't like anything over 90.
See, I like the extremes, but only for like a day, Like I like a super cold day where it's like, wow, could you believe how cold that was? But like,
How many days left is what we say. How many days left of this shit?
It gets old. So like I also like the seasons because it's got to change. And I would like every day. I don't mind getting to the extremes as long as it's just not going to be a very long period of time.
How was your guys' winter last year in Jersey? Was it pretty like snow wise and stuff? Did you guys get?
We haven't seen snow in like 3 years, 4 years.
It's been like 2 years in Pennsylvania for us too. Yeah,
no snow. The weather. I mean, I remember the last 2 years that I was wearing shorts to work right up until the new year, and then like right around January we'd get snapped into this cold spell, and January and February of course suck, but it wasn't terrible. I remember that, like, as far as like it gets cold, but we had barely any snow. I think
we had that polar vortex crap about 7 years ago or something. Where
that was brutal.
We had a real cold snap for like I would say it was under freezing temps for like a full week, and that's
I think it was even longer than that.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I'm saying like generally that never happens. We never have freezing temps more than a couple days in a row anymore.
Now, when do you start seeing snow out there, Tone? Like probably like another month.
Another month.
Maybe?
Usually after Halloween, everything starts happening. It's like what really. And we had a year 3 years ago where I swear it was like every other day. And I'm talking like when I first moved here. Like I said, I was in Florida for probably like 13, 14 years straight before I came here, maybe even longer. I was falling down in the driveway. People must have been watching me out of the window because I wasn't used to walking on this stuff anymore, and like I was shoveling driveways every morning. So you're
cowboy
getting up
boots
at like,
too.
You're getting up at like cowboy boots with little spurs on the back. But you're getting up at like 5 a.m, and you have to because you have to go out and do some snow for like 45 minutes before you wake the kids up. It's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm fine if I never deal with snow again. I'm fine with that.
Well,
if I want to see snow, I'll go to the mountains.
We get dark at like in the summer, the sun stays out till about 10:30, 11 at night here.
Right.
But in the winter, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it starts getting dark already. You're dark by like 4, and that wears on you after a while. So.
It kind of gets depressing too. Like it's you wake up to
no
go to work,
sunlight.
you get up to go to work, it's dark. You get home, it's dark. It's like you don't see the sun.
I can't stand that for the 3 weeks we deal with it.
Honestly,
deal with it
absolutely.
A lot longer.
That's the hard time of year is when you don't see the sun, and you start realizing it affects you after a while. I hate that, definitely. But the snow, like a lot of people, are like, oh, I hope it never snows again. They're so happy. I'm like, I don't know, man. I like 1 or 2 a year. I don't mind shoveling out my driveway.
The holidays are cool.
Good for a couple big ones and then be done.
Yeah, especially when the kids were smaller and stuff.
Right,
like
give you one.
It's got to snow like once or twice a year around here, right? Like that'd be cool.
I dread
every day. Like
Christmas, we usually always get it, which I like. It's like Christmas week, we get like that whole snow thing. That's cool because it's pretty much every year.
Yeah, that's
like the
nice.
song,
and the kids love
Christmas.
it.
Yeah.
I don't like the cold weather or like snow or ice or anything like that. And the main reason is my wife commutes 1,000 miles a friggin' week, and she's up at work, and then all of a sudden she'll call me and be like, it's starting to snow, and I know she's got a 2-hour ride home in ice
on a good
and
day.
snow with a bunch of assholes that don't know how to drive when the weather gets shitty. That's like when I'm like, I'm a nervous wreck at that point. Like I like just keep it clear, sunny, get cold, but I don't want to deal with snow and ice with that. But anyway,
guys, want a bit of good news?
yes.
Anybody see the forecast by Hooked on Hockey magazine for the power rankings?
Did not.
No, what happened there?
I don't need to spoil the whole thing, but other than the fact that they got Dallas ranked as number 1, they have
can
New
you
Jersey
give us
Devils.
I was going to say give us the top 10, like from 10 up. But,
Sure.
Bobby made this list.
But I think we're number 2
I did
now.
not make this list. But let's see. At number 10, they got the Wild.
Okay.
Number 9, the Kraken. 8 is the Lightning. 7, we got the Golden Knights. 6, the Avalanche. 5, the Oilers. 4 is Toronto. 3 is the Hurricanes. And 2, like I said, are your New Jersey Devils beating the Hurricanes. But they got Dallas going number 1. This is just Hooked on Hockey magazine. But I like it. It's good to see.
I like it too.
Everyone's thinking of us.
And where are the Rangers?
Rangers were 11.
Oh, okay.
The honorable mention.
And then this would just be good just because we always debate kind of who's the worst team right now. What do you guys
Anaheim.
think? We got Chris's Anaheim.
Philly, I'm going to say.
Philly. And what about you, Dan?
Good guess.
I was thinking Philly too.
Yeah. According to this list, the worst team is the Sharks. Then it's the Blackhawks, then Anaheim, Canadians, Blue Jackets, Flyers.
Wow, the Flyers are that high up.
Yeah,
it's kind of high for the Flyers.
Flyers all the way up to 22. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
The Flyers over Montreal, and I mean, I can.
Sorry, I need glasses now.
You could argue with the, you can't really argue with San Jose at the bottom.
No, I get that.
They're cesspool.
Sure. But one poll. But it's always nice to see how different segments are viewing where our team lies. A lot of people wouldn't put us that high, maybe below Carolina, that kind of thing. But it's good to see.
So I don't know if you guys know, but is San Jose running with Mackenzie Blackwood as their number one this year?
I don't think they've said yet.
They did say they're going after the number one draft pick, so I think so. Sorry, Mackenzie. You're a good dude, man. I'm just kidding.
That does lead me to what about our newest goalie acquisition?
Keith Kincaid of the Chicago Wolves.
Yeah, so I was just wondering what you think the plan is for this. Is he going to see any time with the club?
I heard he's not even going to be in Utica. I think he's going to start.
He's going to be Chicago Wolves.
He's going to stay there the whole time.
I don't think that they got him. I think they got him just as a precautionary measure, just in case, the worst possible case scenario.
Where would you rank him with the other goaltenders that we got in Utica? Just out of, when you get another one.
I'd probably put him below Dawes for sure. So you're looking at number 4 at
right.
I
most.
would think that if he was going to play for Utica at all, it would be for Dawes' backup. He would be Dawes' backup, but I don't know.
I'm still high on Dawes, by the way. I know Schmidt came out and did what he did last year, but before that,
Dawes is out till after December, so he's going to be out for a while, I believe. Yeah,
and I think Hallgren will be playing there as the main goalie. So I don't know who else will be backing him up until Dawes comes back. But
I just think it's a great goalie name, Dawes.
Yeah, cool. I like it. Look, Nico Dawes got thrown into such a shit show 2 years ago, and I felt bad for the kid, man, because he didn't play terrible.
No,
he had no help whatsoever. I was
on the infamous carousel, and it was a horrible year.
But he was the only one that was like, all right, I'll take the job. I'll do it. Sure. And he went out there every night, and he played his ass off, and he got some, I think, experience that is invaluable for his development. And I think that Dawes, I think in a couple of years it will be Schmidt and Dawes. I think that's the plan, and I think so far it's going as planned. So,
absolutely.
All right.
I mean, did anybody watch any of the prospect games yesterday and today?
No.
I watched some, I watched a little bit. I mean, back and forth.
Anything impress you? Anything that you took away from that?
No. I mean, I think that, Ottawa, I think they had more size on us, I noticed in those games. So I couldn't, that was one thing I did notice actually a little bit. And I think you mentioned some of I wasn't totally impressed. I wasn't totally impressed with some of it, but again, it was day one, I think I was seeing 2 days ago.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 periods against Ottawa yesterday. The second period was terrible, and I watched the first 2 periods against Buffalo tonight. They were down 3-1 after 2. I don't know how it ended, but for throwing a bunch of kids together that barely know each other and have one day of practice, and then you go out there and play a game. It is what it is. It's sloppy hockey, and but a couple of the guys kind of caught my eye a little bit. I mean, Simon Nemec was playing, so that was kind of fun to watch. Seemed to me at the time that I saw him, at least in tonight's game, just a kid trying to do way too much, trying to make up and trying to just impress everybody and make plays on every play. There was a defenseman, I think he's a defenseman, McKinnon. He impressed me. He has some size. He was throwing some hits. He was getting his nose dirty, and he was a dude that definitely caught my eye. I mean, whether or not he's anything, I don't know. I don't know where he is as far as development, if he's going to college or whatever. But a couple of guys, seemed like there was some potential there.
I think it was 4-2 tonight. I think the Buffalo.
That's how it ended, 4-2?
Yeah, I think it was 4-1 with not much time left. I think the Devils picked up one more, but I think it's 4-2, something like that.
And I think we play Boston on Monday at 10 a.m. So for anybody that wants to check that out, it is on the New Jersey Devils YouTube page.
Isn't it interesting, though, your involvement level with something like that when you look at the team that we're going to put out next year, and it's almost inconsequential because we know there's a few guys fighting for a couple spots. And sure, maybe somebody's going to come out of this camp and blow you away, but this is the first year I can ever recall where it's almost
it's
just
like a little preview of a down the road, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, a couple. Well, to me, it's a preview of who's going to be guys that maybe we can trade away for somebody.
That's,
that to me is really
what's the value that you're holding for a move this year, perhaps, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, again, I didn't watch it like you, Chris, but I did hear that Graham Clark's doing really well.
He had a goal yesterday against Ottawa. He's playing okay. I think that they changed up his line. Oh, who was it? I think it was Chase Stillman. I think they moved him. He played wing last night, and then they moved him to center tonight. Saw him take a couple of faceoffs, and he got beat clean on pretty much all of them. So I think maybe might want to put that.
And I read an article that Nemec said that he's doing some penalty kill time, and he hadn't really been doing that. Yep. Has he done it in the challenge? Yeah.
I only saw the Devils on a couple. I was watching it at work, so I was kind of Gotcha. I knew that they were on power plays and they were on some PKs. I don't know how he looked on there though. So gotcha. Tone, did you notice anything with that?
No, I didn't. But Josh Philman had a goal last night. He looked okay, I guess.
Yeah, he did look okay.
Yeah, he looked okay.
Josh Brolin, Thanos. He was awesome.
Yeah.
So everybody other than Tony, I know, caught up, or not caught up, but has been watching the Ahsoka series on Disney Plus. Tony, that's your homework. You had to catch up on every Star Wars ever made by the next show.
I am not fully caught up.
I'm in Vampirina world right now, man. I'm in Vampirina season 4 with my daughter.
What show is this?
You told
Vampirina?
Yeah, it's like a
come on,
cartoon vampire little.
Is it a kid show?
Yeah, it's a kid show. My daughter.
I've never heard of it.
A lot. Yeah,
I don't have little
he's so
kids,
close to Transylvania where he's at.
But it's so much better than it's so much better than Pepper the Pig.
I want to do your podcast.
I want to do your podcast.
You don't like Peppa Pig?
Oh my god, I fucking hate Peppa.
How about Bluey? Did you Bluey yet?
Who? I didn't blow anybody.
I just love Australia.
Bobby loves Bluey.
Yeah, somebody at work was talking about like one of their kids like Bluey. I'm like, okay, that's like my kids are too old to know.
Yeah, I don't know Bluey either.
I don't know. And I said, is it like Blue's Clues? And they're like, no. I'm like,
way better.
They're looking at you like you're fucking crazy, right?
Like that was a
nothing
like
to say. Blue's Clues.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
How about this Blippy guy? Which I give Blippy credit. He's probably like a millionaire. I'm sure he is. But this fucking guy on YouTube, man, he has like he dresses like almost like Waldo, but a little worse. And he just acts like a total. Movie. Oh, and he acts insane. I mean, but like he has a kid cult following of like. I mean, they love him. I mean, and I was watching something about the dude. He created his own character, just some regular guy, I guess. But I mean, he's making hand over foot. I mean, he's just killing it. And he's got all over YouTube.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, it's called Blippy, I think. Exactly.
I hate all of those things, but it's amazing when you watch which people have just made it and exploded. For what I don't know, because my kid watched all that. He's like 9 now, so he's kind of in that crosshairs between he'll still do the cartoon thing, but he's also way into like the YouTuber thing. So he aspires to be like an old man, memeing video games. And I'm like, no, that's not the track you're going to take.
Yeah, I remember Miss Anderson.
Some of them are so successful, you can't argue it.
These live streaming video games is like crazy that people go on YouTube and watch other people playing video games.
They'd rather do that than play video games.
It's fucking insane.
As I sit there looking at the PlayStation 5 that I want to play.
No, I know that like a lot of kids will watch hours and hours of gameplay for a game, and then they won't even buy the game.
Yeah,
right. Like they're just watching. It has nothing to do with like, I want to learn how to play this game. No, they're just enjoying the story of this person playing this game.
I don't understand it. I really don't.
It's like food videos, right? Like you watch these people eat. Like on YouTube, there's all these guys who like they make food videos. They just go somewhere and eat, and they got thousands of watchers, and people like start sending them money for the food. And like there's tons of guys right now in their cars with their cell phone on, eating a sandwich they've never had before. And I mean the views are insane. Like I'm like, how do you get that many views for important shit?
Why would you want to watch somebody eat a sandwich? Like, I don't understand. Like
this is further evidence that people are fucking stupid. I mean,
Chris, you had a food guy.
No,
in your place, didn't you?
I had what?
You had a foodie in your place. One of these guys who do this.
Yeah, I did. He wasn't a foodie. He was a competitive food eater. He was he would go into those food eating competitions, which is just disgusting. Like I don't like watching people eat.
I was going to say, that was you, right? You can't stand that. When there's a close-up on someone's mouth, like, you hate that.
And there's one thing, like cereal or soup or anything that somebody slurps and, like, it dribbles out of their mouth a little bit. Like, it grosses me the hell out. I can't stand it. So,
But
actually, when I listen to the
back to
radio, when I hear
Ahsoka.
someone eating,
Yeah.
no, like there'll be radio shows. Like I've listened to a couple of DJs who are, you listen to some of these guys and they're eating during their radio show, and it bothers the shit out of you. I can just hear them in the background doing it, and they're just smacking away, and I'm like, oh my god.
It never really bothered me till one day Chris said it. We were watching like a commercial or something, and it fucking bugged him. And ever since then, I've been like, God damn it, that really does suck, man.
I don't like it. I don't like watching people eat. But I know you guys aren't caught up with the last episode of Ahsoka, but I do have to just pose this question. What's your favorite lightsaber scene in live action Star Wars movies?
Boy.
And I will say mine. So
you start
a
then.
little
Warm
time
us
to
up.
think about it. I mean, there are so many good ones, but the one that I think I like the most is Rise of Skywalker, Rey, and Kylo on the remnants of the Death Star in the water, and that to me is one of the best lightsaber scenes ever. I love that one. I can just keep rewinding that and watching it. It's fantastic.
See, I'm so fucking lame because I only watched the first couple movies, so I'm gonna have to I'm gonna go. I think the Empire, the scene where he gets his hand cut off. Like I said, I only go so far with
classic,
these movies, and that's a classic scene. I mean, I've seen comedies use that same thing, with people hanging off and the, I'm your father thing. So that's just a scene I remember Yoda. Didn't Yoda get in a fight in one of them and just start flipping around?
He's spinning around, flipping like maniac. It was awesome.
Yoda had a run in there.
I'm kind of glad you brought up the new one, Chris, because, we were talking a little bit before the show, right, about how, I just kind of wish we can go back in time a little bit and just change the choreography of some of this. It just seems so bad. And with each movie, it kind of got better and better. Even though you might like the fight scene better in Empire Strikes Back, the actual fighting with the lightsaber duel in Return of the Jedi was better as far as sword play and that. So they've always kind of gotten better. And I've liked, the Darth Maul one. I love that because, but
my problem with that one is just it was too short.
It was too short. They're becoming a lot more epic since
then.
Well, they realized this is kind of what everyone's coming to look for.
My runner-up would be Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith. That is a close runner-up. And Hayden Christensen trained for 6 months for that friggin' lightsaber scene.
Honestly,
that's crazy.
I know we're talking the live-action films, because I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with the remnants of the Death Star.
Yeah,
because, with each one, it gets better, and they have different force powers, so all that kind of plays into my thinking how to go. But in the Obi-Wan series, when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader got back together.
Their first fight when they had the flashback scene, that's fantastic.
That was fantastic, yeah. But sticking with the movies, I would actually go with the last movie. Yeah.
How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, those are all great calls, and it totally depends what you're talking about too, because I'm split on this. I mean, because I do like the older and newer stuff. The newer stuff is so much more visually interesting. The effects, the martial arts, frankly, everything they're doing there is so complex, and it's kind of beautiful. And there's a lot of good ones. You mentioned the one with Obi-Wan and Anakin. That was really, as far as saber on saber, technically, you have to say that's the best. But there's something about, I'm with Tony, the Empire, that scene is the first time you do that kind of thing. And it's done, it didn't need all the gymnastics, did it? No. It had all the story to make the weight of it work. And if you look at it as far as from a story point of view and what's the most memorable, it's definitely Empire. It's got to be, even though the new ones are so cool to look at.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen these people, though, that put together the original fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in A New Hope, but they modernize it somehow, and I don't know if it's on YouTube or whatever, and they take that fight, exactly what I'm talking about. I want to see that fight really look like two Jedis going at it, and they do that.
Who does
and
this?
It's phenomenal. I have no idea. Somebody with a lot of time on their hands.
It's
a deep fake. They reconstruct it. But you look at it oh my god! If that were actually in the movie, it's as good as the scenes today.
This
with those
thing
two
you're watching, it doesn't end in a porno or anything, does it?
No, he still gets hit and disappears. The only guy that
I didn't know
Bobby
disappears.
What
and
then all of a sudden, fights are you watching?
all of a sudden, Obi-Wan takes.
Well, Ryan Graves was in
his dog helmet.
It was Ryan Graves versus Holtz, a sword fight you'll never forget.
I have another.
Recreates that stuff, right? If you recreate those, you got do have some spare time. I'm sure women are knocking down your door. I mean,
they definitely don't have the job I have. That's all I'm saying.
I have another movie question before we jump into hockey. Is there any movie, like classic, famous movie that you have never seen that you know that you need to watch at some point? And like people talk about it all the time, and whenever you mention that you haven't seen it, they look at you like you're balancing a Buick on your dick. And, how do you never see blah blah blah? Like I have a couple, and it happened today, and people were talking about Apocalypse Now, and I've never seen it.
Oh, that's great.
And I know it's like Coppola's like one of his best movies, and I know it's as famous as a movie can be. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
There's another movie you haven't seen, Chris, that I mentioned to you one day, and you told me you never saw it, and I was shocked because I thought out of all four of us, you would have seen it, and that was I didn't see this till like 3 years ago, and it's a dopey movie, but it's pretty funny. That Adam Sandler don't mess with what is it? Zohan.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Pretty funny,
Chris. I think you would actually. I didn't expect to like it. My wife put it on a couple years ago, and I was like, "How did I not see this
ever
before?"
hear about that movie ever again?
I mentioned classic movies,
right?
great classic movies. I wasn't expecting Don't Mess with the Zohan.
It's like the most obscure Adam Sandler movie too. I think. That's great.
What about you, Bobby?
I got somewhere between. I know for sure it's 2 or 3, but it might go 4 or 5 for all I know. But I have seen maybe 15, 20 minutes total of any number of The Godfathers. Really? I have never watched.
You never saw The Godfather?
I never saw it, dude. Especially not through it. Like, sure, it might have been on. Maybe I was watching it, but I have no idea what that's about. No, I know what it's about, obviously, but no.
And that's the other thing. Like, just through osmosis, you know what these movies are about because they are so famous, and yet you've never sat down and watched them. You know what?
Like, but Chris, there's some movies you don't want to watch because people tell you so much about it. There's something in the back of your head that's like, you know what? There are some movies like that. Absolutely. Like Titanic. That's my movie. I've never seen Titanic. It's like the Passion of the Christ. I know how the story ends. You know, it's like I just never watched it. Everyone I know has seen it, and everyone's like, every time I say I've never seen the Titanic, someone's like, how the hell have you never seen the Titanic? I have no interest.
I will say, when you say you've never seen the Titanic, I would say, well, you just saved yourself 3.5 hours of your life, so consider yourself lucky. And what about you, Dan? You were about to say something before.
Well, it's, there's a lot of movies I would say that today, like, if you had asked me years ago, should I see Apocalypse Now? I would say, yeah, it's awesome. You should go see it. But
you did see it. You've seen it, right?
I saw it, but what I'm trying to say is this: like some of these old classic movies are almost you can't enjoy them the same way you would have because now we're used to different movies. Like if you go back and watch like Taxi Driver, I tried to do that. It's painful. Like my sensibilities have changed. Old, slower movies, I can't take them anymore.
Okay.
Interesting.
And it's like a lot of these old classics, I think that our brains are not really wired for that anymore. Like
that's interesting because I was thinking back the other day, like how I miss the old movies that were just kind of like it's all about just the way they were written and shot, and it was totally different than it is now. And they weren't great movies, but they imprinted me, for being younger. And I crave to watch that now, but I can totally see how. I
crave the idea too, but when I actually watch something like that, I'm like, you know what it is? It's everybody's got a little dose of ADD. Everything in our lives has gotten shorter and shorter attention span, and if we're lucky, we can follow things that are like a half-hour show, 3-hour movie. But think about the cuts. Like you watch these old movies, they're all one shot for like. What the hell are we watching? Everybody gets bored watching.
I love the memes on social media where they're like, hey, do you want to watch a 6-hour movie? Like, oh, hell no. How would you like to watch 8 45-minute shows and binge it all night long? Oh, yeah, sign me up.
Exactly. Now, Dan, your kids are older like mine. Do you sit down and watch a movie or a TV show and they will follow everything that is going on TV and yet be on their phone doing other stuff? And it's like, I don't understand how the fuck you do that.
Fascinating question because I find this very strange what happens. In our family, like I would say 3 of the 4 kids, but really all of them, they will talk about a show, bring a show, and force me and my wife to watch it. Like they've already watched the whole series, but now you're going to watch it together. So right now with one of our kids, we're going through Gotham right now, the whole 100 episodes.
Great show.
My kid has seen
for a while.
My kid has seen this whole series about 3 or 4 times over, but she, wants to watch it with us. Okay, and then there's like the other kids do that, but I'll tell you this: if the other kids are watching another kid's show, they don't pay attention to it at all. They're on their phone, whatever. If me and my wife suggest something, very likely no one's going to join us.
Oh yeah.
So the kids only if the movie's like a thing for them, but if to like passively watch a movie anymore, no, they don't do that.
But they can get it. Like they'll understand what's going, and yet they'll have. And I'm like, I don't understand how your brain works that you're able to freaking do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I pulled up to this dude. It was in the right lane. I don't know if I told you. He was typing like a paragraph. Like I was watching him. His thumbs were like amazing. Now this guy was like he in no time at all, and he's at the red light, and I'm like, of course he's not gonna know in a light because you see someone. No, he's like boom. He like put it that he was like a ninja with it, and I realized like there's no way I could ever type like that. Like when they tell people you don't text and drive, they're really talking to me. But I think pretty soon, like the kids are like, why don't you like, probably what they said when the radio came out, like don't you adjust the volume before you
with the knobs,
put the car and drive, and then don't touch the radio again.
Yeah,
but tell you this is why I will always love the movies. You go to the movies, you're there for the movie. That's it. You focus on that. That's why I have a home theater. When it's movie time, it's movie time. And Chris, like this goes back to like our childhood, man. Like we went to movies. Yeah. It was cool. We focus on the movie and move on. I still do that now. I take my kid now. That's it, man. I love
Bobby
the movies.
In the dark, one box of popcorn.
But the best was
so
Jesus Christ. No, the best was going with your old man and seeing Naked Gun. Because we're like, I don't know. If I'm 12, you're 10 and a half, 11, something like that, and we're watching Naked Gun, and your dad's just crackling at the opening scene where the car's going through. Yeah. He's like, this guy, what a fucking asshole. And he's just like yelling in the theater, and we're young enough where like, see, I was the guy who went to Chris's house where you could curse. You couldn't curse at my house, but you go to Chris's house, you can curse. So it wasn't bad. But to hear his old man just cackling in the theater, talking about this fucking asshole driving like this, it was just...
Bobby, do you remember? Do you remember 8th grade going to see Major League at the mall, right? And do you remember who was there? And we thought it was the strangest thing because our science and math teacher, Mrs. Bergman, was there with her boyfriend. And we were like just walked out of this rated R movie and we saw a teacher. And it was like the first time we ever saw a teacher like out in public. And she came over and said hello to us. And we were all like, yeah, hi. And like we're all fucking weirded out by it and stuff. I'll never forget
This is why I love this kid's brain. I would never remember this till the day I die. Chris has to remind me of this. Now I remember it. Yeah. Until that moment. Oh, God.
And that's a great
it
movie.
reads like the beginning of like a Penthouse Forum. So.
Very true. Have you guys
First of all, going to the movies in the mall? Sure.
Yeah.
Was that Ocean County Mall? Or was that dope?
Oh, yeah.
No, that was Ocean County. They had the
County.
3 cinemas there. Yeah.
God, I mean, I saw a picture of Ocean County the other day, the mall in there, and it was a whole setup with like I think it was Camelot music and stuff. It was like
Camelot music was huge.
Pictures. Hot Sam's. Remember me and Dan were picking up girls. Yep. We dated the Hot Sam girls. Remember that, Dan? Back in the day.
Ocean County Mall was maybe second place to Cinema Alley as far as finishing a movie, sneaking underneath the screen, and going to the next one. I think Cinema Alley was the easiest.
Cinema Alley was the easiest, but it was the most disgusting movie theater. Like when a movie was playing at the Dover, that was the nice one. Like you get to go to the Dover was like.
Remember when that was the nice one, and they became the $2 theater?
That's what I was going to say.
That's when shit went downhill.
Yeah, that was sad. It was like that whole town was sold off. $2.
Yeah.
That was the movie theater.
I remember the last movie I saw in every one of those movie theaters that closed down. And I remember the first movie I saw at the Seacourt when they opened that up. And that was Pretty Woman. I was on a date and I went to see Pretty Woman. I was like
you're on a date.
Freshman year.
Yeah, right.
Bob, just wait a second. I was there.
I still have a thing for
not a date, bro.
Now, you guys probably don't know this, but
a tattoo of Richard Gere on my ass.
Very much in the center of like where we lived, there used to be a drive-in movie theater. It closed down when we were little, and but one of my earliest memories was being in the back of convertible car, my parents' car, watching Star Wars, and I had to have been like 2.5.
Yeah,
it might have came out like a year later, like run the next year.
Right.
So maybe I was like 3 years old or something.
But because
that was weird because that was like in my neighborhood. But it was demolished by the time I was like 5 or 6.
I didn't know that. I've never been to a drive-through movie theater, and I know that you're right about that they
drive-in.
Drive-through.
It's got to be a really.
I'd like to order Back to the Future, please.
Maybe for the previews you can drive through
because I saw Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater before I saw Star Wars, and then they re-released Star Wars after that. Yeah. And I remember I went to Cinema Alley and saw Star Wars. Me and my whole family.
I remember when Jedi came out, and McDonald's had all those awesome glasses and stuff.
Oh, they were the best.
Cool glasses, man.
Dude, those glasses were the best.
Yeah, I mean, those glasses.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, if we were. At least I know myself personally, if I was like you are, Tony, with your sports memorabilia, with all my Star Wars and all the other shit, I'd be a millionaire right now.
I was showing Chris some the other day some shit I got. It is insane. My wife's trying to I have piles of stuff. I don't even know what it is. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, in this corner we have this jersey that's used or this stick. And I'm like, man, and now that I have these kids, a lot of it's still in Florida. I'm like, what do we do with all this stuff? I mean,
you should sell some of that stuff.
No, but eventually I will bring some of, I got a bunch of stuff, and I will, when I go back to Florida this year, I'm going to pull a few items for this show that we can give away during the year. I know Bobby talked about this too, and I have so much stuff that basically my kids are going to be putting at a flea market when I croak, trying to sell it on a table. So I might as well.
I wonder if you did a charity auction too.
Dude, I got crazy. I mean,
that would be awesome. So stay tuned because this year we will have some Uncle Pucker giveaways. It's Tony's shit. So before we jump into some hockey, we'll give a shout out to our Hockey Podcast Network sponsors, and then we will roll into some Devil stuff. Football is back and in full swing with another week of epic games, and DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered on the action for every single one of them. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And new customers can bet $5 in football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Nobody's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of not one, but 2 new offers every game day this September. So get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code THPN to sign up. New customers can bet $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.sot1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction and void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. So remember, that's DraftKings Sportsbook app, code THPN.
And this is Stanley Cup champion Jim Dowd, and you're listening to Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devil podcast.
So, Bobby, you got a Devil you know for tonight?
I do.
All right. You guys want to jump into that?
Play a game?
Let's do that. Play a game?
I'd like to play a game.
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil podcast. The funnest game in podcasting history. The Devil You Know, where Bobby is the clue giver tonight. He's going to give us clues for a former devil, and Dan, Tony, and myself get to guess. We have 3 guesses, incorrect guesses, before we are eliminated, and we can ask Bobby any question we want, and he can or cannot answer it. It is completely up to him, and basically at this point throughout season 1, we are all just playing for second place because Tony is kicking our asses very badly. So we'll see if that trend continues.
So, just so you know, Tony only paid me half this time around, so I'm not going to do any draft questions till the lower half.
That's why Bobby held up the sheet really fast for a second and put it down.
I saw that? Demoralized.
Yes.
I feel very demoralized.
I didn't write the name on top until just now, though, so
well,
I had to remind myself who it was.
I'm going to do what Chris does. I noticed I'm going to start writing down each thing because I just been trying to keep all the shit in my head, and then we get halfway
it's been working.
down.
I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, you fucking win every one. Exactly.
That's true. Actually, put this pen down.
Yeah, exactly. Don't break it. Don't break it. Don't fix it if it ain't broken. That kind of thing. Whenever you're ready.
Does anyone want to guess before I start a clue?
Does it count as a miss?
Okay. Yes.
Oh, what count
We
is
have
this?
this question.
See, I think every game.
Because if you get it, like I'm screwed.
No, I think it would be kind of cool. It's like a hole in one that we all can get one guess, and if it's right, you win. I mean,
Let's try it.
Nobody's
That
even
makes
got
the show
close to-
really boring,
nobody's-
though. How about I don't have to answer it, though?
Nobody's
I'm
even
not
come
ready to
close
say
to
right
using
now.
3.
That's true. But Dan's right about that. None of us have even come close to guessing 3 incorrect
So even
ones,
if you don't get one free, take a stab at it if you got it. If you
Yeah,
got
I agree with Dan.
Because honestly,
Okay.
I would love to see Tony guess. I'll tell you why. I think what he has is not so much like knowledge, but magic. And I think he's going to nail it right now.
He's like the Harry Potter of the
Wait a
devil,
minute,
you know.
wait a minute. I put work into this. If he gets it, like seriously, I'm gonna be bummed.
He's a wizard.
The
Can I
boy
try?
that didn't
Can I get one
die.
try, Bobby? Just once?
Can I take off camera so that I don't like give it away like with
It's not
poker
going to
face?
be right. I'm going to say Turner Stevenson.
Bobby, I'm
Turner
pretty
Stevenson.
Well, that's
No,
one
you-
incorrect answer.
Nah, it's not Turner.
Okay.
All right, so that's Tony's got a strike.
Turbans.
Wait a second.
Turban Steverson? Who the hell's that? All right, whenever you're ready, Bobby.
All right,
You were a turban.
there we go, boys. You
And
ready?
the nickname.
All right. So this former Devil stands about 6 feet tall and 190 pounds. He has spent some time in the KHL. In 500 plus games with the Devils, he has 166 goals, 228 assists for 394 points, and that puts him on an average goal per year of 20.
How many goals? 166, you said?
Correct. Is that some weird stat that you're just going to pull the player out now?
Trying
Just
to get
kidding,
some
buddy.
knowledge.
Let's see. For his career, he has 32 power play goals and 2 shorthanded goals.
Did you say he was Russian?
I did not. I
He
said
said he
spent time
played in the KHL, but
Is he Russian?
I will not answer that question.
all right, is he not?
Are
Russian?
you Russian this game along?
Oh, I see what you're doing. I will not answer that question.
All right,
He has had 38 2-goal games. With the Devils, he's had a season with as low as 1 goal and as high as 35.
So his high with the Devils was 35 goals.
Correct.
Can you tell us what year that was?
Honestly,
or?
I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you yet. It might come out later.
Okay.
Actually, I do know what it is, and I will probably tell
All
you
right.
later.
All right.
He had 8 seasons with the Devils, and his last year was 2012.
How many games did you say?
Specifically, I didn't say.
the
I said
NHL.
500 plus. Well, 527 with the Devils. I have not gotten to his career stats yet.
Can I ask you one question? Did he have more than one stint with the Devils?
Yes.
I'd like to guess. Is it Peter Sikora?
Nice.
It is Peter
Nice.
Sikora.
Well done. Peter Sikora.
Hell of a guess, dude.
Ah, nice.
Makes
And there goes our content for the show.
Makes sense.
We'll see
Well,
you next
I
time.
mean, as
Really
we
adds
will
up.
always do, I will finish the clues
Yeah,
because, goddamn, I tried to throw you off the scent early. We
give
also
us the
haven't
good
had a
ones,
guy like kind of that prominent,
yeah.
right? For most of what we've done. So
That's
I'm
what I
like,
was going to
And
say.
I
Like,
thought
this
you were
is
going to
the
be
bet.
digging
no, they're not. I'm
name.
like, I was figuring you guys wouldn't be
Who is that?
expecting it because we usually dig.
Halloween decoration going off in the corner.
So, so
Okay.
I was trying to play around
I
the
was
fact.
thinking we needed that.
So I think what got Chris was the 8 seasons, and he last played in 2012. That's he had a memory for that. I don't think a lot of people remember Sikora came on that 2012 team. Tony, his career NHL was 1,017 games, 323 goals, 721 points. He had a 16-year career, averaging 45 points a year. See, some of these things where I'm putting these averages, they don't speak to Sikora.
Right.
You hear 45 points a year, you're not going to think Sikora.
Listen, they're very obscure stats.
Right.
And that's
Career
why.
playoff, and especially the career power play goals was only 32. I found that very odd for 16 years. Career playoffs, 133 games, 34 goals, 40 assists, 74 points. He played 18 games for us in the 2012 playoffs with 2 goals and 3 assists. He played in both the Winter Olympics and the World Cup. Tony,
What was
I'm
his
wondering if
favorite
you would have
color?
started getting stuff here. He has a He has a triple overtime goal and a quadruple overtime goal, which is the fourth longest goal in NHL history.
I think that, and when now I go back to the KHL and the double stint with the Devils, and if I would have got to the 1,000 games, I think I would have kind of.
So I wouldn't have told you guys who the team was with the quintuple overtime goal because it was the Ducks, and I think that would have really started to give it away. But of course, it doesn't matter because Chris got this like 5 questions ago. He won 2 Stanley Cups. 1 with the Devils. He played for 6 teams. First time he hoisted
You had
the cup.
so many clues, Bob.
I was really trying to get to the bottom here where it got fun.
Right.
But Chris is a savant today. First time he hoisted the cup on the ice was 2009.
Which is like, that's an interesting.
So I'm hoping now you guys are going, wait,
Hold
he
on.
played in 2012. He listed the cup in 2009.
That's an interesting choice of words you said. The first one he hoisted, right?
I would not have emphasized it as much.
Oh, you were going to lay low, Bob.
I was going to lay low. I wouldn't have been like hoisted. I would have just nonchalantly
if none of us
said
got this on question 28.
This is 13.
All right, I have a question for you guys.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, you kind of
He's
are.
got so many more. Well, I've really,
All right, you put the work in, please. Go ahead.
Raid or something.
He was an Oiler, Duck, Wild, Ranger, Penguin. Youngest player to play in the IHL at 17. Tony, that's up your alley. First-round draft pick, 18th overall, 1995. First time he lifted a cup on Devil's Ice was 2020, February, for a ceremony. And then, of course, he's from the chosen Czech Republic, which we don't need.
He was
a very good one.
He was a fantastic player. I liked Peter Sikora a lot. He was a lot of fun to watch, and
I think Bobby made a great choice, and he gets, I think, a little honorable point himself for choosing like the biggest name. You could argue Jaromir Jagr. Why did we struggle with that one? But that was a little tricky because I still don't think of him as the Devil. This is definitely the biggest Devil we've ever had on this. And it didn't come that easy.
Like even Joe Nieuwendyk isn't remembered as being a Devil, but Peter Sikora kind of is. He made his bones
my brain
in New
got
Jersey.
stuck.
So for Chris, you would say if I had maybe moved
Russians,
that clue of that 2012 further down the line, that might have helped to get us a little further down.
As soon as you said he played a little bit in the KHL and his size, like automatically, when you said KHL, Peter Sikora, and when you said 6 foot 100, I don't know why, but his name was in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an average
I know,
size.
but for some reason it was just he stuck in my head.
One
and
of
then
those
the 500 games, and it all kind of started playing together. And that's when I was like, I got to ask about whether or not
I was banking on the fact that you guys would never think I would take a guy that high profile.
Well,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I understand that's what you're doing with this. But when you think about it, I understand why you wanted to hide everything, because when you kind of get a player who could have been, in the KHL, you think of our top European players who have played that long, he should have been on the short list. How many did we have that long? Of a period
Well,
of
also a lot of people in the lockout played there, though. So it was. And then I put the 2012, so I was thinking now you're going to associate kind of that time frame. Yeah, I was trying to keep you away from 2000. Is what I was trying to do.
Right.
I was trying to keep
I get you.
Yeah.
But it was very good, and only few people could have even fit in the first few clues, but you didn't make it obvious when you think.
Yeah, he just popped in my head.
So it turns out 3 of the 4 puckers here are actually smart people.
We try to be.
I'm the one who's not.
Except we mispronounce people's names a lot, but that's fine.
This is good. How it goes. I thought this was a real good names right.
Well, thanks, Dan.
I have a question for you guys, and when we had Jim Dowd on, and we were talking a little bit about Claude Lemieux, and he said, just in kind of passing, and that guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And we never really talk about Claude Lemieux, but who do you think should be in the Hall of Fame if you had to pick one? Patrik Elias or Claude Lemieux? Where do you go? Who do you think deserves to be in there more? If it's legitimately both, then okay. But
is this like Sophie's Choice we're doing?
And none of them are going to die.
I have to kill one of my children.
You have 4. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna go with Claude. I'm gonna go with Lemieux.
You think Lemieux? You go, Tony. You go
different
Lemieux
cups with
over
3 different
Elias.
teams. Came back and won 2 cups with the same team. Just Claude Lemieux in general. He's a guy that, when he in the playoffs, he just changes everything. You know,
So did Patrik Elias.
Yeah, I know, and it's not like an easy choice. It's kind of like a.
It's not an easy choice.
I think Claude Lemieux, as I've said before, is probably my favorite player of all time. So I'm gonna have to.
You bring up a very good thing I didn't really think about much, because it's almost opposite. Like as far as the most Devil fan would say, like, how many people, but Lemieux did it with not just the Devils, right? So he's kind of, is that a strength, or when you think about it, he actually did do it 3 different times, different teams, that kind of thing.
Twice with the same,
or
different
times. Right. But he was on. What about with
Colorado, Montreal, and
Montreal?
Jersey?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I mean, that's what's pretty impressive. So it's kind of hard not to agree with you with that, even though I think, like, who's the more skilled player goal scoring wise? It's Elias. She's got the prettier goals, sure. But,
definitely.
Also, who, like, when you do it with 3 different teams, there's a common denominator in 3 different cups now, like from 3 different teams. That's pretty impressive. Not saying that Elias couldn't have, but you can kind of see the way Lemieux was like a series changer just by being himself, that it's no wonder. So
and he also carried that. He was also a bad guy, and not only that, but with what he put everything together. You look at like Marchand, right? Like, we all hate him, but you like him on your team because some of these, it's really, you could be a bad guy or a dirty player sometimes, but when you have the other part too, you have every tool in the box. I don't know. It's like really, I mean, that's like a Swiss Army knife, right? You got every little asset with Claude Lemieux, and I think you got your grit. He can score, big game player. Could just drive the other team fucking crazy. I mean, and he's hated. I mean, he was so hated by the Detroit fans when he was with Colorado. I mean, he was one of the bad guys of the NHL. And I thought, but to have that skill too, because you could be hated, as we've seen guys in the NHL who they're just that, like we were talking about Sean Avery, right? You just hate him. The guy does the.
He never come up with clutch goals like Lemieux.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, you hate Sean Avery because he was a piece of shit. You hated Claude Lemieux, but you wanted him on your team. Nobody wanted Sean Avery on their team.
And you didn't want to play against Claude Lemieux, not because you just wanted to punch him in the face, because you didn't know how much he was such a distraction to your team during the big games. And usually in the big games, Claude Lemieux came out on the top side.
He did. He scored some of his biggest goals in big games.
Where do you stand on this, Bobby?
Wow, yeah, this is a deeper dive than I thought I would have to do tonight. When I think of Claude Lemieux, immediately you think of winner, right? No doubt about it. What I don't know about him as much is his statistical play. I know what he did in 95 for the Devils, of course. I know that he won some other cups in between, and then we brought him back in 2000, and boom, he was part of that team that won again. I don't recall how flashy he was that year, but it's definitely part of the puzzle. When I think of Elias, I know all his stats. I know everything he did for this organization. And I think of the Hall of Fame almost more as like who was an MVP driver for a long time. And that was certainly where Elias doesn't get enough credit for what he did for this Devils team. So gun to my head, one or the other has to go in. I'm probably going to stick with Elias, but I totally understand the argument of why Lemieux, as just a freaking winner, should be in that conversation. But because of what I know about Elias and what he's done and what he's meant to this team for a decade and a half, I would go there.
And I wonder how much of it is politics with what you said, Tony, that he was very hated. And you do have a selection committee of, 18 people that may or may not, we don't know how they feel about
May have played against him, some of these guys.
Right. And so I wonder if that does hold him back a little bit from ever getting in. I think, and like Bobby said, I'm not 100% sure about his numbers. Like, does he have numbers that are worthy of going in the Hall of Fame? I think Patrik Elias does, especially on an organization that never had a person like Patrik Elias. He was, it broke every record, and we had some great players on this team, but to be able to stay in one spot for 20 years, 18 years, however long he played, and win 3 cups there and was clutch, especially in 2000. Like Bobby said, if we had to make a choice, I would probably go with Patrik Elias. I really think that Devil fans should really start making a case for Patrik Elias to get into the Hall of Fame next year, because he definitely does deserve it. And then next year we can do about Claude Lemieux.
I mean, you can think about this too. Like, we've all heard, whether it's warranted or not, things about Lemieux maybe disappearing in the regular season. His awesome ability to totally re-engage for the playoffs, everybody knows that. But there's that other side of the hockey, like, what did he do the rest of the year? Not all the time. I don't know, like I said, if it's warranted. I know he was a great hockey player, but you never heard something like that about Elias.
Yeah.
Like that guy. It doesn't matter if
he
it
was
was a
a
regular season
class
game
act.
against nobody
Yeah.
or a playoff game. He was always the same player.
But I'm going to say this, though. It also comes in the time period. If now, who would I rather have? Well, Patrik Elias would be a better player to have right now on your team.
Yeah,
Back
Claude
in
Lemieux can't beat
94,
Claude Lemieux
95,
anymore.
96,
You're right.
I want to take Claude Lemieux. Because
If you're talking about
the Devils won cups without a team like the Devils have, like without the big players. With Claude, it was pieced together so well back then with Stevens.
Right.
I mean,
But if you
now
had to
it's a
pick,
time thing.
but if you had to pick one, I mean, it's
I'm
a tough
taking
choice.
Claude.
Absolutely, you'll go with Claude. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it really is very difficult depending on how you're going to view it. Now, I think if we're talking about Hall of Fame, what should be done, that's one thing. But you brought up something like, well, what should Devil fans do? So if you're going to be doing this in the interest of Devil fans and promoting what is a serious lack of Devil representation, and that's what we're doing, like as a purpose, I'm going to agree with you. And it makes sense to put the strongest candidate in first, which is Patty. And sure, but if I'm looking at it as far as like, I stand away from my team, look at the whole bigger picture of who is more important of the categories that I put value on, I'm going to take Lemieux. And it's because, just looking over the course of his career, he did it over and over again. And there's no doubt that he was such a critical role to those cups. And in the end, I value them more than some of the other amazing things that, Elias did. But that, it's two different ways to look at it. I'm down with whatever.
Let me ask you guys one more question, though. If Claude Lemieux was to get into the Hall of Fame, is it a guarantee he goes in as a Devil? Just curious, right?
No, it's not.
I mean,
he
maybe Colorado.
He finished
I
out.
would think it would be between Montreal and Jersey, and I think he would choose Jersey. I mean, I just can't picture him. I look at his years, and I watched. I don't know. I mean, I think 2 cups. I don't know. I just don't
He
think
liked the one with Colorado. I think he had a great time with that. So
you just don't know. And Montreal was so long ago that might be,
I mean, I think he was consistently better for Colorado for those years he played there, more than he was for the Devils. At least, like Bobby said, too, regular season and stuff, where he kind of disappears. I feel like he really didn't. I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like he didn't do that with Colorado. He was like a mainstay and producing constantly for that team. So I don't know. With Elias, he goes in as a Devil, and that goes back to what you said, Dan. Like vastly, low amount, there's no respect, or we do not have the representation in the Hall of Fame, and a guy like Elias really seems to be like the logical next person to go.
What is so
club.
Absolutely
intrinsically interesting about this question is that if you just came to me with a different question and said the 2 most clutch forwards you've ever seen for the Devils in the playoffs.
Yeah,
those are literally the 2 guys that come to my mind. Like, let's not get into Brodeur and the defensive side. Just from a forward side, it's definitely those 2. So that makes it even harder because, I mean, they're both just awesome. It just reminds me of, like, in 2000, what Elias can bring. Everybody remembers the Arnott goal, and that was the easy part. The pass that Elias made was the fucking hard part.
Fucking blind
pass. He gave him an open net. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Arnott. Great goal, huge. But I mean, that pass, nobody talks about that pass. It's Arnott's goal, and rightfully so. But
the only one that talks about that pass is Jason Arnott. He's the only one that gives that pass.
In those 2 Stanley Cups, I think of 2 plays. I think of Elias going to that wall and doing the blind pass. And for Lemieux, I think of that one where he came down and took that slap shot on Hextall. Like, wide. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, he should have stopped that, but he didn't because that was Lemieux in the playoffs. And those 2 things are burned into my head.
You realize we were in your basement for that goal, that Lemieux goal.
That's right.
We were in your basement for that Lemieux goal. And the thing with the Hall of Fame, it's weird, is if you look at some of the guys' numbers that are in there, I mean, Ken Dryden, I've always heard people say, like, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I think he only had, like, over 200 wins or something like that, but the guy was a winner. I mean, there's going to be it's really weird how the Hall of Fame works, and if you look at Claude Lemieux's body of work, 3 cups, I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't get in there compared to some people that have been put into the Hall of Fame, It's like,
no, you can definitely make an argument for both. 4 cups, 4 cups,
3
different teams, but you can definitely make an argument for both. Absolutely. I would probably go with Elias. Just for that simple, he goes in as a Devil, and I like that because Dan's right. We are vastly underrepresented when it comes to the Hall of Fame. And hopefully that changes, 15, 20 years.
For me, it's more about understanding the value of a hockey player truly in its full capacity. And that's why I will always stand behind Elias. You want to start a petition to get him in, I'll lead that charge because he just really deserves to get in for what he did. You got to look at the franchise mode that the Devils were in as a defensive first team and having this guy lead the team offensively and pulling back on the reins and doing whatever it took to win. There's a lot of other players who do that too. And there's going to be other people on other podcasts that know their teams inside and out. They're going to say that about a certain player that I never even heard of. But I can speak for Elias, and it's something he deserves.
And like I said, it's time thing, right? Like if you we were saying, like right now, you would want Patrik Elias at his prime on this team because he fits more into the league, the way the league runs.
For sure,
he can. Lemieux might be in the press box a lot, or he may be getting suspended a lot. It's a whole different game.
I'm curious what the listeners think. So drop us a line. Let us know which one, Elias or Lemieux. You have to pick one. So who's it going to be?
Sophie's choice. Yeah.
So
pick.
Tony, you got some news?
Sure, we can.
You want to do some news?
Stuff, yeah.
I really hope that Mike Babcock is in your news.
Yeah, he is in my news. A lot of hockey news.
Awesome.
He's always got some cock in his news.
It's all about the cock.
There you go. Title of the show.
It's all about the cock.
Coming to you live from the Uncle Puckers news desk in a basement somewhere in Lithuania. Sports, politics, current events, and entertainment. It's the news of the day with Tony A.
Did you guys check out the Whitakers or no? Nobody checked out the Whitakers, did they?
Not yet, no.
West Virginia family.
I love that 1940s newsy Chris.
Yeah,
that is the best, Chris. I wish you would talk like that all the time on the show, Chris.
He does when he's alone.
If we could do the show like this.
I could do it.
We might need it.
Oh, you know what?
For
Maybe we'll try to do a whole show like that next time.
No,
Chris, you could do an after show by yourself. After we hang up, you do an after show, sum it all up in that voice.
All right, and we'll throw it over to the news desk in Lithuania. Tony, it's your ball. What's going on in Lithuania?
So we're gonna. So first, we got a couple of Blue Jacket things, but first.
Who are the Blue Jackets? The team from Columbus.
Everybody's in blue.
Do you know that name comes from their representation in the Civil War?
You mean
it's from a
insect? I thought it was an insect.
It's not a bug, stupid.
Jesus.
Lance, if I'm lying, I'm dying.
These Blue Jackets are making me itch all night.
Line of the day.
Columbus Blue Jackets have signed unrestricted free agent Stefan Matteau to a professional tryout. Matteau was drafted in number 29 overall in 2012.
Yes, Columbus really going for the youth in there. Signing a PTO to the 57-year-old Stefan Matteau.
So, hey, guys, what do you think? How many games do you think he played in the NHL since he's been drafted? What would be your guess?
When's the last time he was in the NHL?
He's played for New Jersey, Montreal, Vegas, Columbus, and the Avs.
1,000.
What was his last year?
1,000, no. Hit the buzzer. This guy.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy. Put him in the bathroom.
I'll go 1,362.
What am I trying to guess?
How many games do you think Matteau's played in his career?
I just said 1,362.
I asked Dan, not you this time.
1,363.
$1.
Price is wrong,
Bobby, go less. Jump less.
Tony, what is going on over there?
It's always Halloween in
and
Lithuania.
We weren't invited. It's September. How
I
many
honestly thought this was like a clue that you were trying. Like, what does this sound?
So how many?
He's played 92 games in NHL in all those years. Yeah,
92?
Wrong Matteau, my bad.
92
Wait, we're
games
talking about
played.
the Stefan Matteau?
You said Stefan Matteau.
that played with the Devils, that was drafted with the Devils.
Oh, we're all thinking Stefan Matteau from the 1994 Rangers.
This question is a fraud, sir.
But I also said, this is not a question, I said in 2012 he was drafted 29th by the Devils.
I didn't hear
We
that.
were laughing hysterically.
I thought part of it was a joke.
Nobody heard that.
But anyway, he has a tryout with the Blue Jackets. And the next story is going to be the Blue Jackets too, because obviously you guys have heard they actually had a meeting on Thursday, the NHL. So Babcock supposedly asked his players to hook up their phones to some kind of airdrop. I guess it pulls photos off your phone. And I guess the Spinning Chicklets show, which I listen to as
they're
a
great.
killer show. They had brought it up, and I guess they have in with some of the players and stuff like that. So I guess he he's denying this. He's saying that he wanted to see photos of their families and their children and stuff like that. So there's mixed reports on this, but they are investigating it because Babcock. This is the thing with him. Everything he touches.
Is that a thing? People
So yeah, Babcock apparently told the players that he wanted them to show him the pictures on their phones, and
this is so weird.
Yeah, and he said it was like Tony said
Extremely
to get
bizarre.
to know these players better, and some of the younger guys were really kind of taken aback by it, and like, what the fuck you want to look at my private?
Tony, was it Mike? Was it Mike Commodore? He's on Spit and Chip as well.
Yeah,
right?
Mike Commodore.
He went off.
He
on
hates.
this
That's his
about-
biggest.
yeah.
He hates.
And apparently, like, this is not shocking to him, is what I'm getting at, that he would kind of go to this level.
Yeah, so
he had a lot of choice words.
A complaint was filed with the NHLPA, and they're investigating and stuff. And I don't know, did anything come from the investigation
Not
yet?
yet.
Did they say anything? Okay.
But I will
I
say
don't
there's
understand,
players,
though.
but
Like,
there's
what's
players
his-
taking us back a little bit though. There's some players who
him
are
with a
saying,
dolphin
"Hey man,
in
you
his
know, like
bathroom.
it's cool." But he had a big problem with Mitch Marner, if you remember. That's why Shanahan shipped him out of Toronto.
No, I don't
Say.
know. What happened with him and Mitch?
He would basically like I guess just rip
picture of
apart
his
Mitch in front of the.
Right.
He would rip apart Mitch in front of the teammates. He would just try to embarrass them.
Let's see those dick pics, Mitch.
Wait, that's a picture of me.
The old Roman war helmet. I do have to say
Is
though,
that what's
like,
going on? Is
that's
that really
it.
what
It kind of
this guy's
seems
doing?
like it. It kind of seems
I mean,
like it.
I need to know, like, these stories, people, and when you're trying to do something newsy, you don't want to, you want to say only what you know. But I literally can't figure out this kink. Like, what is this shit? I've never heard of it.
It is a kink,
That's
isn't
like
it?
but it's I mean, what are we, if that's what it is, and I'm not saying it is, I don't know. But, like, have you ever heard of this exact thing before? Like,
I've
you've
never heard
all
of a coach
kinds of
doing
weird.
this. And
But
I think
anybody, like, give me the pictures of your.
yeah,
in
like
your
I
phone.
want to.
For
I
what?
want to know more
For what?
about you. Hand me your phone so I can scroll
Yeah.
through your fucking photo album and get to know you better. Like, let me tell you
Is this
something.
a crime that I'm not aware
If-
happened?
if-
all the time?
Search
If
penis.
my wife's phone if my wife's phone is sitting on the counter and she gets a text, sometimes will pop up and tell you who it is. I refuse to look. I say,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a phone call. You have a text. I will not even go in her pocketbook to grab an
Do the same.
Advil, even
Yep.
if she's like, it's in my pocketbook. I will bring the pocketbook
You're not
to
gonna
her
Babcock
and put it
your
on her lap.
She's listening to the show tomorrow. She's like, "Thank God."
Well, it's gagcock. You fucking you just got to respect people's privacy, and your
That's right.
phone is no different than going through somebody's fucking purse or going through his locker or going through anything else. I think it's fucking bullshit.
Is he like, but you guys, I want you to check out my phone too. It's really great.
Yeah, right.
Is he like just like ignorant of cell phone stuff? He's like, I got a couple games on there. You might like it.
Right.
I found this
Hold
one
on, I'm
Candy
just
Crush.
dialing it up.
It's funny. Now let me play with your phone. Is he like?
Did you
that
ever
kind of-
hear
is it
Candy
innocent?
Crush? It's great.
Yeah. Is he just like an innocent idiot, or is this some
No.
kind of malicious? Like I'm gonna. What
That's
is he
what I'm-
looking for exactly? Because here's the thing. I
Dirt.
don't know what would be like. What do you mean? He's like a spy?
I think he's looking for dirt. I think he's trying to find shit that he can hold over people's
Hold over
heads.
the
Babcock's
players.
fucking
So wait,
crazy.
he's like a blackmailer, like like.
No, he's white.
Okay. All right.
He's a white
So
man.
we're finally
He
getting
delivers
some
no mail at all.
He's a junk mailer.
black
He
man
mails
or white
pictures of his
flyer,
junk.
whatever. Yeah, no, I get it, but I just don't understand the angle of this. What is he like? He's got a job
It's
that
Babcock.
makes him how many millions of dollars. He's definitely not doing extortion gimmicks.
Yeah, what's his game?
What is his game?
Yeah,
What is
I
this
have no
man's game?
idea. I have
We
no
talk
idea.
about it all the time. 2023.
Or is he just like-
it's so different? He shouldn't be a coach. He just for some reason
Is he
cannot
just
deal
so
with these
old
young
school?
kids.
Like this is something Bobby Knight would have done because he doesn't understand phones anyway. If he was still around.
Yeah, I don't know if it is something that innocent and stupid. Like, is
Yeah.
it nefarious or is it just fucking dumb? I don't know. But either
Well,
way,
maybe I
I
never heard of it. I never
maybe
heard
he's
of it.
innocent. Who knows?
Well,
I mean, I know
who knows?
players a couple players have come kind of saying, "Oh, I wish it wouldn't have gotten to this level, like because it's not that big of a deal." But there's
I know Goudreau was one of those that came
Yes.
out like, this is not a big fucking deal. I don't know what everyone's freaking out about. But these young kids, you also have to understand, like,
That
these
reminds me of
18, 19
Macaulay Culkin was like, it's not such a big deal. I go over there, I drink some wine, and everything's fine. Remember that? Macaulay Culkin.
Yes.
Who's the other dude who used to defend MJ all the time?
Corey
His buddy.
Feldman.
That
Corey
reference
Feldman. Corey
does
Feldman was
not
like,
make us
he
look
never-
old
Corey
at all.
Feldman
He never
is Michael
touched me.
Jackson now.
He was a gentleman. He never touched me. I slept in his bed a few times.
When he did
and
touch me,
nothing happened.
he wore the glove. It's
You know,
fine.
you like sometimes you sleep in grown man's bed sometimes and nothing happens, and that's That's the way it was.
It-
So it could be a situation like that with some of these players.
maybe
with
it's
Babcock,
maybe
I
it
don't know.
is also, it definitely is that generational thing. Like these young kids coming up that are 19, 20, 21, and Columbus has a lot of young kids. They are very sensitive. They are very, they're not how.
Oh my God, are you saying this is like Gen Z snowflake fault? Maybe
I think
that
it
kind of
could
thing?
be a little bit of that. I think that, and then and I think it snowballed because of that. I think what Babcock asked for was inappropriate, and then I think the Gen Z sensitivity took over and took it to another level that it should have been handled in house, and they made a big fucking deal about it
do
because
think
as
it's
soon
much
as
more
something happens,
personal
they have
to
to
take a
fucking tweet
phone.
about it.
Yeah, it's much more personal to like take somebody's phone from a younger person, and
Yeah.
like an older person looks at it like we did, like a phone on the wall.
Right.
It's a tool. It's a phone. But really, when you grow up with this thing, you must look at it differently. Like it's in a way, I think younger people feel like it's more personal
Yeah,
than we do.
it's their diary. I mean, they have everything on there. Yeah, I agree. I mean, so I think there's a little bit of both. I think it's just being completely out of touch on both sides. The kids not knowing, not really trying to understand where Babcock's coming from, which is a fucked up place. And Babcock, of course, just being this completely out of the, he's just living on another fucking planet. I mean, if you don't know, like this, you haven't even played a fucking game yet, dude. And not to mention, when you're Mike Babcock, you have a lot of people gunning for you. He is not liked.
I don't
in
mind
the
throwing
NHL.
him under the bus at all, and I'll tell you why. Like, who cares? Like, this is like nothing. That's and most of the time, these people, like, like they didn't deserve the defense they got anyway. So I don't know if it's him or not, but whatever. I never liked the guy in the first place.
Like Chris said, like at least let the season start. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers got farther than you did. The next story,
But
Pearl Jam's
if it-
Eddie Vedder. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Well, just real quick on the Babcock thing before if it does come out, within the next week or so that, I don't know what they're going to find. Like maybe they'll find out the motive of why he was asking. And if that motive, like I said, was nefarious, he's done. He's done. He will never coach a fucking game for them. So
What if he just wanted to play Wordle with them and he's like signed them up for it? Or
maybe
something?
that was it.
I want to take your phone and install Wordle. We could
Right.
be Wordle buddies.
Exactly.
I hope
Words with
I hope-
friends, asshole.
I think it's just
Maybe
a
that's
power
something.
move.
Words with friends. Wordle, you do better.
Regardless
yourself.
of what he
Yeah,
finds,
they're both
it's a power
fantastic,
move.
though.
Pissing
Yeah.
the
To say,
market
I can
spot.
do this to you.
Yeah,
That's true
what
too,
it was.
Bobby.
Yeah.
And this is
He
a
could-
different.
I'm
it
the
is-
coach. I'm the guy.
It's a
Right.
different world
Yeah.
nowadays, So yeah, we'll see how that one plays out.
It was
But,
like the equivalent of shaving their heads when they go into boot camp.
Yeah. Fucking
Right.
douchey.
They did
Yeah.
find one thing on most of the players' phones, and that was downloads of the Uncle Pucker show. The next story,
Damn
Pearl
straight.
Jam's Eddie Vedder announced at the United Center that unawarely to Chris Chelios that his jersey was going to be retired.
Underwellingly? What does that mean? Underwellingly.
I guess
Orwellian
I guess Chelios didn't know this, but Vedder announced that he was going to be they're going to retire his jersey. Actually, the Blackhawks number 7, which I think that should have happened a while ago. I mean, the guy played over 1,600 games. Chris Chelios was just, when we were growing up, he was a hell of a player. So that for some reason I thought they were.
I would have thought it was
done
already
that.
retired. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have guessed it was retired.
That's funny because Eddie Vedder also told me that Mark McGuire broke the home run record that year. And this is a true story. I was at a Pearl Jam concert, and he actually said during it that Mark McGuire hit either the game tying or the record breaking home run. So Eddie Vedder is,
Most people-
He's up on
Eddie-
current
he's
events
sweet.
for sure.
Eddie Vedder told me he
Eddie
told me on 9/11 that something bad was happening. I should turn on TV, and
I
that's
could've-
what he. And sometimes it's
wasn't-
not always good news. that
If
he
it
gives
wasn't for Eddie Vedder, it could have been you.
Eddie Vedder told me not to call him daughter.
Terrible.
That's all I know.
And,
I can't figure out what Eddie Vedder's saying. So
what
And
is
he's
it?
like, that's why he's like a prophet. Like it could be anything, It's
like Yellow
That's
Lead
what I
Better,
said
does that have
2
any
years
words,
ago.
that song? Does
Exactly.
Yellow Lead Better have any lyrics? I don't know.
Oh, I hate that fucking song, and
It's
just
a great
because
song.
I cannot understand him at all. But
like the
okay,
Oracle now.
good for Chris Chelios. I don't understand why the United Center plays nothing but Pearl Jam at those Chicago Blackhawk games. It is a little bit crazy that they're not from there, but I
Nah,
digress.
they just have a big presence there. A lot of
What is that?
shows.
What's
and
the
it's just,
Chicago
I don't know,
connection?
momentum thing?
with
I don't know.
These
I
guys?
don't know.
I don't know.
You would
but it's
expect
like
them
the-
to be
Wrigley
in for the
Field
Kraken.
too. It's,
They should be
yeah.
there with the Kraken. That was their. whole
Yeah, and Chicago to them legitimately is their second city. I don't,
thing.
it really is.
It's the second city. Yeah,
I know,
that's true.
that's why.
Yeah,
But
that's
they're,
what
to
people-
them,
it's
they
a
really
Podland
are.
town.
So good for
City
Chris
with broad
Chelios.
shoulders.
I like Chelios. He was a hell of a player, no doubt. And I was a little surprised, like you, Tony, that they have not retired his jersey yet.
Yeah, it's I actually probably thought it was retired already. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
that's
So I
what
read the story.
yeah.
I was like, shit. Canadians prospect, which is actually, I remember this story from a couple months ago, and now it's finally got a little bit of resolve. But Canadians prospect Logan Mayhew has his eligibility restored to play in the NHL. He'll be able to join the Canadians if he makes the team out of camp. Now, if you remember, he was drafted by Montreal 31st in 2021, but he was convicted in Sweden in 2020 for sharing pictures of him and a woman
on his phone,
sexual acts
Sweden.
to other
I did not
people.
remember this. I
Yeah,
did not
so
know
that,
this
yeah,
story.
so
No,
he,
I didn't know this
And
either.
he was a big.
Did
he
we
was
talk
supposedly-
about this?
I don't think we've ever talked about this.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a talented player, so he has there's a lot of things about this guy. But he did in 2020 get convicted for sharing without consent photos of him in a sexual act with a girl. You know, I'm gonna say I can go with the it sucks. I think it's shitty that he did that. I think it speaks for his character, but I'm okay with a second chance there. But I gotta say, if you're gonna do that, I gotta question your. If I was Babcock, I would ask to see your phone.
On him,
Okay.
yeah.
There you go.
You're gonna wrap up just two stories together. I like that. They
But
kinda
you're right,
tie
though.
into each other.
You are right, Tony. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. We're all only human, and somebody should not lose their livelihood because they made a mistake. They should have a chance to redeem themselves, and hopefully he doesn't share pictures of him fucking some chick and showing them to people.
Yeah.
Didn't fucking Elon Musk do that with the fucking?
Is that the standard now, Elon
Well,
Musk?
that was a
Has
test.
he done?
No. Seriously, who did he date? That Amber. What the fuck's her name? The one
Amber
that,
Waves. Amber Waves.
Amber Waves and Roller Girl. Hello, exactly.
Elon Musk he's too busy sharing.
No, Amber Heard. He took when he was hooking up with her, and I heard he had a picture of her and some sexual cosplay video game character, and then he shared it without her knowledge or
Just
something
say
like that.
deep
If
fake.
that ever happens right now,
If that ever happens to you guys, just say deep fake. The technology is so good, especially if it came from Elon Musk.
Right.
You could easily say this guy and his computer wizards made some shit up, and you know what? The average person is going to be like, "Yeah, Chat GPT exists. This is probably a deep fake." Nobody can believe their own eyes anymore, guys. It's amazing. Have you seen these ones where they'll translate something you say into 3 different languages and make your mouth move? And they do this all in real time. So you record a minimum of 30 seconds, and then it'll immediately play it back and translate me to German with German mouth movements.
I have been
whatever.
trying.
That's what happened when I tried to say unwillingly.
This sounds
a couple
great.
minutes ago.
Oh, that was German. Okay. No, it didn't keep.
My dad told me I couldn't take French.
The,
Now I can.
when
Now
this
you-
starts
now we
seeping,
can all do that.
when this starts seeping into the dark underbelly of politics, it's going to be really fucking ugly.
I'm trying to figure out which one of us is AI because I think one or more of you might be
Probably
AI.
the guy who
and I
guesses
don't know,
all the devils you know.
something
Yeah,
happened
that's-
and I forget, and then the algorithm sent me an AI version of you, and
Dan.
I forget that you died 3 years ago.
Dan,
This is what I worry about.
That's
Look
the
at him.
best. If one of us goes, we can just keep the show going.
he's got all his
Doesn't matter.
questions.
Just reproduce
He
the
doesn't
guy.
go gray. He knows all the answers. This is the guy.
Oh, him.
You might be
yeah,
right.
he's Nosferatu down there. He's in Vanilla Sky. He's the one he's the guy that you can't. Yeah, then Total Recall. Remember, he comes back to kill him. You gotta watch out for Tony.
Did you wait? You said Vanilla Sky. Okay, no, I did see.
I was
Vanilla
thinking
Sky.
of that
I
one.
thought that was a movie that I didn't see, but no, I did see Vanilla Sky.
I like
for
Vanilla
some
Sky.
reason.
A lot
I
of
did
people
too.
don't like that movie.
I liked
I
it a
didn't
lot.
dig
I
that
saw it in the movie theater, but I was thinking of Magnolia, another Tom Cruise movie when you said, and I didn't see that.
2 best movies that clown
Steel
was ever
Magnolia?
in.
Yeah, I never saw Magnolia. I heard
Magnolia's
it's really
good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's good, but it definitely moves fast enough to not waste your time today. Not like we were talking about earlier, but
Right.
and I like it, but it's a weird movie. It's kind of surreal.
I think
And
my wife really
kinda
liked
cool.
that. If memory serves me, I gotta check that one out. Tone, what
Yeah,
else you
it's
got, Bubby boy?
Shit here. You guys saw that? Elon Musk, going back to him for a second, he gave out plans of the war to run, let him know. I mean, what the fuck? But
He wants to be Dr. Evil. That's his goal.
He's doing a good job.
He's starting to look like him. Wait till he gets a little older. He's going to look exactly like him.
I'm kind of up in the air about how the American government goes about having a private citizen basically interfering for on the side of, against American policy and American, I'm
It's a
kind of
matter
curious
if
how that
American
whole
people
thing's going to
care.
fucking play out. That's
People's
just
American
opinion on
people
him
don't
changed a
care,
lot
then,
over here.
then that's the problem. Some he's got his fans, that's Elon Musk, and some of them some of his fans are they kind of want that tough guy out there doing whatever he wants to do. Bullshit.
Some of these guys, these fucking billionaires, they just have too much power, too much fucking money, and it's really scary.
But he sells with like the full libertarian crowd who like want to say I'm libertarian. Like he really sells with them because he's like, I fuck the government, guys.
But he actually said to the, I guess the CIA or whoever, that no, I just spoke with Putin. Like he's having conversations with fucking Putin about this shit, and then turning off
Dennis Rodman flying over and hanging out with Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, but at least Dennis Rodman and him are just shooting hoops. I mean, Elon Musk and
what
fucking
is the U.S. government supposed to do about it though? Like, what are they gonna do?
I was just kind of curious. Like, how do you stand on that? Is he? I don't know. I mean, we're supporting Ukraine,
right? Is it start drying up his reasons to do that? In the form of we don't have to do business with him, definitely. But that would be like a total sanctions thing. And now, that's all would look, and that's why he's doing this. He's courting a certain demographic to give himself political insurance. If he's tied to one American, then you can't really do that. If it was just some other foreign businessman, nobody would care. And so, like, that's what he's doing. He's appealing to the cultural, split in this country. When meanwhile, he's like from a wealthy aristocracy in South Africa. He's not he's not one of us libertarian dudes we think we are over here.
What he is
work
a
on
piece
making
of
X
shit.
better. Yeah, we'll worry about making X better.
Yeah, everybody had all these great, thoughts on Elon Musk when he was, SpaceX and building Teslas and everything like that. And once this dude took over Twitter, it's like, wow, he's a fucking scumbag. Like,
his personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Sucks.
Former defenseman Michael Del Zotto retired after 13 seasons in the NHL. He played with the Rangers, Ottawa, Vancouver, Philly, St. Louis, Anaheim, Nashville, and Columbus. Played over 736 games. He was a guy who I think he sat out most of the year last year, and it was kind of just time before he announced it. But Michael Del Zotto calls it a day. And this story I just saw this week, and I had to bring it up. If you guys might have seen this, a plane was forced to turn back in Atlanta 2 hours into the flight to Spain because a passenger lost their battle with major diarrhea, which flowed down the aisles. They actually had to pull over the plane and rip out the carpets.
Bobby, you said you flew this weekend, didn't you?
Bobby had tum-tum issues.
Yeah.
Maintenance crews spent hours cleaning up the plane and replacing carpets ran directly. The diarrhea streamed through the aisles of the plane. Yeah.
How big was this guy?
8-hour delay. Could you imagine
just
being the
one
guy?
person with diarrhea?
Excuse me,
Rivers
man.
of diarrhea.
I mean, could you imagine how hated? I know when we flew last time, we got 2 young kids. When you get on a plane, you can just feel the eyes. You're hated. But imagine being the guy who shits all over the plane 2 hours
River
in,
of
where they
shit
got to turn
down
it
the aisle.
around.
Yeah.
And they put him back on the plane. So they actually, 8 hours later, they got the plane fixed up, suited up. They sent his people back out. They let the guy back on the plane.
Here's some Tums.
I'm
He
sure
did
the
it
guy didn't
again?
want to leave his seat. No.
Oh.
Did he do it again?
No, at that point I would be driving. If I, it's one thing if like you're at a friend's house and it's embarrassing enough, right? And you fucking
definitely
dump out and you clog their toilet or you're in there way too fucking long or something. It's horrifying. Can you imagine
clogging a toilet and making a river of shit down a hallway are two totally different things.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Like, I would definitely have thought of jumping out of the fucking plane. Like at that point, it's like, how do I get out of here? Right? How do I get the fuck out of here? That door won't open,
Chris.
And who do I blame this river of shit on other than me?
Please, that's when you're in the plane going, please crash. Can we please crash?
Hey, right. Chris,
pilot. Please crash this plane.
Oh God! If we go,
I won't survive.
I just want to go down before it starts seeping out the door. Oh, that's terrible.
Like the guy was just like a river of it, just constantly, like a fire hose of shit.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Just spraying all over everyone. It's like a bad, B movie.
The G.G. Allen flight.
Yeah, looking like Stand By Me with the.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. Complete and total Barfarama.
It was a Barfarama.
Yes.
Exactly.
Lardass, yeah.
Hey, Lardass, chow down, wide load. It's the Racks and Stacks. It's the best on wax. It's KAHL in Portland.
Hey, that's where he got it from.
It's the same voice. All right, got anything else, Tom?
Yeah, one more, just because, you got to give some respect to this dog. World's tallest dog, a Great Dane named Zeus.
Literal dog. I wasn't expecting that.
No. Yes. Zeus the dog passed away from complications from bone cancer operations. He was a Great Dane. He was 1 meter in height. He was the largest
What's
dog.
that
What's that in
American?
English?
That doesn't sound tall to me. 1 meter.
Is that a foot?
3 feet and
Okay.
3 inches, I guess.
What's your meters,
but
milli?
Zeus passed away from complications. He would have been 4 in November, but he was the world's tallest dog. So, that's what I got for you.
Well, that was awesome, Tony.
Hey, man, I saw the dog, and I was like, you know what? No one else is going to talk about Zeus besides this thing I found this on.
Well, I saw that movie.
Especially not in
Tall
83
Dogs-
minutes.
Tall Dogs Go to Heaven, right? Isn't that the movie?
Yeah, I was going to, when we were talking about that show, I was gonna ask you.
Oh, no, we got a new sounder.
It was good, man. I'm glad you got that.
Hit the post with that shit, too.
It's pretty not bad.
All right.
Have you guys ever went back? We were talking earlier about, have you watched something that you watched? Like, I saw Fraggle Rock about a month ago, and how awful some of that shit is when you rewatch it as an adult.
It is.
Yes,
Fraggle Rock really loses magic once you try to look at it again.
You're like,
It's
oh my
just,
God,
it's
I used
not
to watch
magical
this
like when you were a little kid.
all the time, I mean,
Yeah,
We
I
saw
don't
that.
know.
We went to, it was a movie theater. They opened up for Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And it was that first, and I was so excited. My kids watched. He's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "Ah, come on, it's cool as hell." And then we got to watch Emmett Otter.
Emmett Otter.
Did you sing the songs?
Yeah, I
Your
did.
nails won't
Yeah,
break
you're
and
not
your
gonna
toes
fit
won't
no hole in a
stub. You never
washtub.
get a fever when there ain't no hole in the wash tub.
Hell yeah!
It's like honeysuckle on a vine, Ma. I
We're a
love.
Jug Band.
I
It's great.
love
I don't know
Emmett
if you guys have that on DVD or anything, but what we like to do as a family is you watch the outtakes at the end. Did you ever
Otter.
see
Emmett
that?
Otter?
Oh, they're the best, dude. You got to find them. I mean, there's
We have
one
it
where
on
they do
DVD.
like 70
I do too.
takes of them trying to. Now go to it. It's not very long.
I don't have
But
anything
you
to
see
watch
the-
a DVD on.
And they're getting crazy, from doing the same scene over and over again. They're just
Right.
trying to roll a drum out and make it.
Fucking puppets.
Well, it's kind of hilarious. They do break a character a few times, and they also show their exasperation while they're still in character in a way that was never going to be used.
I got to go on YouTube and watch that, definitely.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool.
So on that note, we're going to wrap it up for the evening. It's getting a little bit late, so this was fun tonight, guys. Thank you so much for checking us out. Drop us a line, unclepuckers@gmail.com. Help us try and get this fan whatever I'm talking about here. I can't
Fan Appreciation Day.
anymore.
I think that's what you're talking about.
I want to just go over some
Fan
fan
interaction.
emails and stuff like that. Yeah, that's
Ceiling
good.
fan.
Something ceiling fan.
That's what you got to get next to the sheepy horn.
I will. I'll put that
Yeah.
on for the next
All
show.
right.
But guys, thank you so
Why not?
much for checking us out. And remember, wherever you are listening to us, like, subscribe, 5-star review, download. It goes a long way in helping us promote the podcast. For Tony, Dan, Bobby, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you.
Peace.
Later.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
Summer.
Sure.